It's 6 p.m., top of the hour, time for the news in the Queen's language. It's a pleasure welcoming you to this edition of the English Primetime News on the Republican Television, broadcasting live from Yaoundé. Let's begin the news with our bullet points. The 2022 revision of registration into the electoral register has been launched this Thursday by the Director General of Elecams, Eric Esuse, at the universities of Yaoundé 1 and 2 with the call for the youths to get registered. The Cameroon European Union structured political dialogue has been held at the External Relations Ministry. The dialogue brought together European Union member states led by Philip Van Damme and some government officials led by External Relations Minister Lojen Belambela. And in sport, some sport journalists earmarked to cover the 2022 Africa Cup of Nations have undergone a refresher course organized by the Ministry of Sport and Physical Education and that of Communication. Those were our top stories. I'll be right back. As you heard in one of our latest stories, the revision of the registration into the Electoral Code has been launched this Thursday, January 6, 2022, by the Director General of Elections Cameroon, Elecam, Eric Esuse, at the universities of Yaoundé 1 and 2. During the launching ceremony, the Director General called on the youths to get themselves registered into the Electoral Code. The following report has an in-depth of this story. Electoral registers are opened and persons of voting ages can from today get their names enlisted. The launching of the 2022 revision of the registration into the electoral register was done by the Director General of Elections Cameroon, Elecam, Eric Esuse, who says the major targets are the youths. This explains why he used the opportunity to launch the 2022 registration at the universities of Yaoundé 1 and 2 this Thursday, January 6, 2022. The annual revision of the electoral register is the prescription of Article 74 and 75 of the Electoral Code that states that the revision will be done every year throughout the national territory.
Target to have many youth to be registered, because you know that the youth is very important for our democracy, and we want to gather many youth to be in our role, because for the democracy, youth are the future. That's why we are here, and in the afternoon we meet at Yaoundé 2 for the same operation.
Elections Cameroon, on her part, has put everything in place to make sure a maximum number of persons are registered. Their staff and machines are now open to register Cameroonians to exercise their civil duty in choosing their leaders, which they term it's their right. The Director General, in his opening address, noted that the present exercise will be carried out in strict respect of government prescriptions. Elecam registration centers will therefore be stationed in neighborhoods, markets and other public joints. During this period of revision, two categories of persons are targeted: people who meet the conditions provided by the law and persons whose names were omitted during the previous exercise. Eric Esuse then used the opportunity to hand registration receipts to some youths of the universities who got registered immediately. Cameroonians are therefore called upon to use this revision exercise to get registered in the electoral register. The over 11-kilometer Yaoundé-Simalène motorway has been inaugurated by the Minister of Housing and Urban Development, Celestin Akecha Kutes. The solemn ceremony that took place this Wednesday, January 5th, 2022 at Ahala brought together government officials, traditional and religious authorities. This falls in line with President Paul Biya's infrastructural achievements as the country prepares to host the biggest continental football jamboree. Our staff lady Anne Omeko attended the inauguration ceremony and brought back the following report.
Yaoundé-Simalène. official inauguration of the about 12 kilometers Yaoundé-Simale motorway as preparations intensify ahead of the 2021 African Cup of Nations that Cameroon will be hosting beginning Sunday, January 9th, 2022. Appreciation and joy overflows the heart of Cameroonians.
I'm very proud to be part of this solemn opening of this autoroute, mainly with Cannes. People will see that Cameroon is resilient. People will see the work of the head of state. The head of state is working without making noise. The head of state is transforming cities of Cameroon, not only Yaoundé. Yesterday I was in Marwa, Mizao Bridge. I was in Bafoussam. So the head of state, through this high realization, is transforming, support the development, the sustainable development of our country.
A motor road linking Yaoundé 5, 4 and 3 municipalities, representing a unifying factor. An achievement which, according to the minister, should be
As you heard in one of our latest stories, the first structured political dialogue between Cameroon and the European Union has been held at the External Relations Ministry in the nation's capital city, Yaoundé. The structured political dialogue brought together members of the European Union, led by Philippe Van Damme, Cameroon government ministers, members of the diplomatic corps, as well as representatives of civil society, led by the External Relations boss, Logène Mbela. The following report completes this story. Several Lake Chad Basin security situations, strategic partnership between Cameroon and the European Union, the 26th United Nations resolution, among others, are issues discussed at the Cameroon-European Union structured political dialogue this Wednesday. A structured political dialogue is organized for formal discussion and exchanges with objectives of improving relations. It therefore explains why European Union member countries met at the External Relations Ministry for a third political dialogue, co-chaired by External Relations Minister Logène Mbela and the head of the European Union delegation Philippe Van Damme, and attended by diplomats, members of government and representatives of civil society. Highlights of the importance of the dialogue: External Relations Minister Logène Mbela, in opening address, mentioned some of the already taken measures by the government of Cameroon to resolve pertinent issues and did not fail to announce the disturbing situations.
Chad Basin Governors Forum on Peace and Security, meeting the Lake Chad and held from the 6th of October 2021 in Yaoundé.
He made mention of the disturbing human rights situation in the country and measures put in place by the government of Cameroon to resolve them. Global warming and the socio-political crisis in the northwest and southwest regions remain a concern. Minister Logène Mbela did not relent his efforts to talk about the Total Can Energy Cameroon that begins this Sunday, January 9th. In response, the heads of the European delegations to Cameroon, Philippe Van Damme, reiterated the cordial relationship between the European Union and Cameroon. He says the European Union remains firm and multifaceted, spanning through trade, humanitarian aid, governance, security, science, and culture. During the structured political dialogue between Cameroon and the European Union, the Minister of External Relations, Logène Mbela, laid emphasis on the political situation of Cameroon. Let's now take a listen to an excerpt of the Minister speaking during the dialogue, laying more emphasis on the upcoming Africa Cup of Nations that Cameroon is organizing. Take a listen.
Change Conference, COPAC 26, held in Glasgow, Scotland, from 31st October to 12 November 2021. The objective of maintaining global warming at 1.5 degrees Celsius and reach a consensus on the various actions to be taken towards seeking a solution, and I am delighted that Cameroon actively participated in the said deliberation. It would be remiss to underscore the organization in Cameroon of the 33rd edition of the Total Energy AFCON 2021, which will kick off on Sunday, January 9 to 6 February 2022. This means that for the months, we will be vibrating in unison with sounds and colors of the African continent, gathered this time for friendship and broadening around in the heart of Africa in miniature, which is Cameroon. As a matter of fact, the Africa Cup of Nations, AFCON, which is the greatest sports event in Africa and being the third most important football competition in the world after the FIFA World Cup and the UEFA European Championship. This is thus an excellent opportunity for our country, united in its diversity, behind the President of the Republic, His Excellency Paul Biya, to come together and commemorate its patriotic and cultural values through sports.
The cordial bilateral relations between the Republic of Cameroon and the Republic of France has been revisited in the educational sector. This was during a framework agreement signed between the French ambassador to Cameroon, Christophe Aguilou, and the Minister of Secondary Education, Professor Pauline Nalova-Lionga. The framework agreement, to run for 2 years, is facilitated by the Ministry of External Relations for the teaching of French in Cameroon by French experts from France. The following report tells us more. Cameroon and France have revisited the bilateral cordial relationship in the educational sector through the signing of a 2-year framework agreement for the teaching of French to Cameroonians.
It's a convention that has been signed for 2 years. We provide the funds and we also provide expertise, but the training will be done here in Cameroon in favor of the Cameroonians. We have some expertise and we're very proud to provide this expertise to the teachers here in Cameroon.
Facilitated by the External Relations Ministry, the framework agreement was signed between the French ambassador to Cameroon and the Minister of Secondary Education, Professor Nalova-Lionga.
Any project of this kind has to have a plan, and the plan will depend on the resources that we have and the needs that we have. So that's going to determine how many people we're going to have and how many we're going to train per year. There's no doubt about that.
The importance of the agreement to be fully funded by the Republic of France cannot be overemphasized.
That's going to be added to it because right now I think that there's a confusion in the field between training of teachers and training people in French. You know, one takes people who have studied French and take them into the classroom. It's not the same thing. You're having to do now with training of teachers, training of the trainers. These are the people who are going to train the teachers. And so it's very important. As I said before, it's very important that those who train should be the native speakers. We're getting something which we cannot get elsewhere. I think this is laudable.
With the signing of the framework agreement, Cameroonians will benefit from quality teaching of French language by experts from France to step up the quality of French, both speaking and written, in the country. An interreligious Thanksgiving Mass is currently taking place at the Mary Queen Apostles Basilica Mvoli, led by His Lordship Jean Barga, in the presence of the Prime Minister, Head of Government, Chief Dr. Joseph Dion Gote, the President of Fcfa, Samuel Etofis, some government officials, as well as Christian faithfuls who have come together to pray for peace and serenity to reign in Cameroon during this continental football jamboree. Our staff lady on standby is Geraldine Nasser. Hello, Geraldine.
Good evening to you in the studio, Bertrand Tita. Good evening, viewers. We are presently at the Yaoundé Archdiocese of Mary Queen of the Apostles Basilica Volée, where an inter-religious Thanksgiving Mass is currently going on, led by His Lordship Archbishop Jean Barga, in the presence of the Prime Minister, Head of Government Chief Dr. Joseph Dion Boutte, the Minister of State, Minister of Higher Education, Jacques Famdongo, the newly elected President of the Cameroon Football Federation, Samuel Etofis, other members of government, and Christians drawn from various denominations who have come together this evening to pray for peace, unity, a serene atmosphere for a successful Africa Cup of Nations beginning on Sunday, January 9th, 2022. It should be recorded here that the Mass is made up of two phases. The first phase, which constitutes of a word of prayers from all the religious leaders, and the second phase, which constitutes of a universal prayer. It should also be noted here that this Mass is under the high patronage of the Head of State, His Excellency Paul Biya, who have seen the many challenges that Cameroon has gone through to welcome this great event in the country, and thought it wise that there is a need for Christians to come together to pray for unity, for peace, and a serene atmosphere, given the fact that Cameroon will equally be welcoming 23 other African countries in the event. So the 33rd edition of the Africa Cup of Nations will surely be a successful one with the presence of the Lord. We are reporting live for Camdis Television. We remain our friend Pasi Ibekolo, Black Elombo, and Geraldine Nasi.
Thank you very much, Geraldine, who you have updating our subsequent edition of the news. Let's now talk culture, and this time around we look at Miss Cameroon Audrey Nabila Munkam, born on 1st of April 1995 in Tiko, southwest region of the country. She originates from Balinyonga in Mesam division of the northwest region of the country, and was the winner of the Miss Cameroon contest 2020. Being the first English-speaking Cameroonian to win the contest, she took part in Miss World 2021 representing Cameroon and was the first runner-up. In the following report, Ruth Fonyong looks at her modeling journey. Her reports.
Audrey Nabila Munkam, Miss Cameroon 2020, is 26 years old and is a meter and 8 tall. She is a student and a holder of the bachelor degree in banking and finance. She originates from Balinyonga in the northwest region of Cameroon. She is the first English-speaking candidate to win the crown of Miss Cameroon. Audrey Nabila Munkam was born on April 1st, 1995 in Tiko in the southwest region, and she was elected Miss Cameroon in 2020, where she replaced Caroline Seke, who was Miss Cameroon 2018. She participated in the Miss World 2021 contest and represented Cameroon. In 2020, she was crowned Miss Jeune Afrique, and in 2020 still, she was crowned Miss Cameroon. Audrey Nabila Munkam allowed Cameroon to be on the podiums of Miss World 2021. The Cameroonian is amongst the 3 best top models in the world, one of the branches of the Miss World competition. It is a great honor that Cameroon has never achieved so far in this competition, Miss World being one of the 4 biggest international beauty contests, along with Miss Universe, Miss Earth, and Miss International. On Monday, December 6th, Audrey Munkam, Miss Cameroon 2020, finished second in the category Top Model 1 of the side competitions of Miss World. This is a first for Cameroon. After her win, she showed immense gratitude. Who shall be the second Miss Cameroon 2020? They are 27 in number, and to allow the ladies prepare for the grand finale scheduled on Friday, January 7th in the multipurpose sports complex in Yaoundé. The organizing committee, Komika, took necessary dispositions. Audrey Nabila Munkam, who was the second runner-up for Miss World. During these competitions, there will be dances African and Cameroonian artists shall present. For this year's edition, the number of candidates have moved from 2 to 3 persons per region.
Ero is one of the traditional dishes that visitors coming for the 2021 Africa Cup of Nations will certainly discover during their stay in Cameroon. A specialty of the Bayangi people in the southwest region of Cameroon, it is a very popular delicacy in Cameroonian cuisine. Some simple to prepare, very tasty. A dish which is always present in all occasions, and it's often eaten with fufu or gari. Geraldine Nasser.
Visiting Cameroon during the AFCON period beginning on the 9th of January 2022, many will get to discover the various traditional dishes from the 10 regions of Cameroon. One of these dishes is Ero, a specialty of Bayangi people of the Manyo division in the southwest region of Cameroon. Ero is one of the dishes that is becoming more and more unanimous on all our tables. When we talk about Ero in Cameroonian cuisine, it is a mixture of two vegetables, okok and water leaf prepared in a very special way.
Time we come back for market, I wash Ero, wash water leaf, put them for fire, start fix this dry fish for put inside Ero. When the water leaf will done, I will then take the Ero, put her inside, put kanda, meat, dry fish, maggi, munjanga. Send me the Ero tastes fine. You get fine flavor inside the Ero. When you get done, I put oyede. Move them now, put them for flask.
If we are talking about an identity dish in Cameroon today, Ero is very much appreciated by almost everyone, reason why it is present in all our ceremonies. It is no longer a secret that Ero is unanimous among both English-speaking population and those in French-speaking regions due to its nutritional values.
Ero, it give vitamin, it give blood for skin, so it's good for health.
The very popular dish in Cameroonian cuisine is simple to make and above all very tasty. It is traditionally eaten with water fufu or gari. There is therefore no doubt that many will get to enjoy this dish during their stay in Cameroon.
And if you're just joining us, you're watching the 6 p.m. newscast on Camdays Television in the Queen's language. We now talk sport, where some accredited journalists to cover the 2021 Africa Cup of Nations have received a refresher course in sport reporting at a seminar jointly organized by the Ministry of Sport and Physical Education and that of Communication. Over 100 sport journalists took part in the refresher course at the Amadou Ahidjo Stadium Conference Hall in the nation's capital city, Yaoundé. They were drilled on several domains as far as sport reporting is concerned. Our staff man Isaac Ngonkom took part in the refresher course and now brings us up to speed. Hello, Isaac.
Yeah, good evening, Bertrand Tita, and thank you for joining us here at the Amadou Ahidjo Stadium in Yaoundé, where sports journalists who have been duly accredited for the coverage of the 2021 Africa Cup of Nations are just coming out of the seminar that was organized by the Ministry of Sports and Physical Education and that of Communication to drill them on the techniques of reporting a major tournament like this one, the 2021 Africa Cup of Nations, that Cameroon will be hosting from the 9th of January 2022. Of course, that is in just 3 days from now. We should say that this seminar was highly appreciated by the attendees who say it was really something that was important for them.
It is the feast, and the feast must be a great feast in the continent, so that they must remember that they are the citizen, and when they are reporting the match, they must be patriotic.
Covering the 2021 Africa Cup of Nations is a unique privilege that every journalist would want to take part in, and that is why they were reminded of the responsibility that they have to exercise even in carrying out this important duty during the competition. They would have to respect the ethics and deontology of the profession, and they will have to follow the practical modalities once they are admitted into the different stages.
I think it's always important to refresh the memory on what we as sports reporters have to do. It's not like it's everything they're going to say here. We have to do our homework before the game starts, but at least when presentations are done like that of Professor Abembida, you get to think about the law. If there are things you have not touched, you have to go back and look at them before the competition starts.
I think we're heading into the AFCON with a renewed mindset of responsibility, which is often very, very necessary. To me, I take home the fact that you're supposed to be acutely aware of the temperaments of supporters who sometimes may not be as professional as you are or reason with you, and so you mind the words that you use that can eventually lead into problems.
Just to say that this training seminar was animated by high-profile personalities in the Cameroonian media landscape, like Professor Albert Mbida, and of course we had the Secretary General of the Ministry of Sports and Physical Education, the Secretary General from the Ministry of Communication, all of these personalities that came to share their wealth of experience with the young and of course the experienced reporters that have applied and have received accreditation for the coverage of the 2021 Africa Cup of Nations in Yaoundé in Cameroon, all over the 6 sites that have been selected to host the most prestigious tournament on the African continent. Reporting live from the Amadou Ahidjo Stadium, we are Eme Mukoko, Isaac Ngonku.
Thank you very much, Isaac. You will be having updates in our subsequent edition of the news in the English language. Still in sport, a few days to the start of the biggest continental football bonanza in Cameroon, the fun zones are gradually taking shape. Our reporter Diane Nenkam went down the central post in the nation's capital city, Yaoundé, and compiled the following report for the news.
Ahead of the Total Energies Africa Cup of Nations 2021 to kick off in Cameroon on January 9th, measures are being put in place both by the government of the country and individuals to make sure the grand event is forever engraved in the hearts of Cameroonians. Over here at the central post in Yaoundé, a fan zone is under construction to enable football lovers in the capital city live every moment of the event. According to the organizers, flat screens of reasonable sizes will be installed at various levels to enable each and every fan enjoy every encounter. We will have 2 flat screens, 16 meter squares and 12 meter squares, to enable all our visitors to watch matches freely during the Africa Cup of Nations. We will also reserve a space for former Lions who will be here every day. We will equally have 2 VIP restaurants for persons who will love to eat here. Equally, we will reserve an area at the extreme end of the garden to enable everyone to eat at their convenience before, during and after the matches. Apart from the central post here in Yaoundé, fan zones are being constructed at various levels, which will now be left for football lovers to make their choices depending on their proximity and or other push factors.
The Teranga Lions of Senegal arrived at Cameroon this Wednesday night with a clear mission in mind to lift the trophy of the prestigious African football show. Ranked first in Africa, Senegal is led by Aliou Cissé and will be appearing at the biggest continental football show for the 60th time and have played the finals 2 times yet to lift the trophy, despite the combination of stars like Sadio Mane, Edouard Mendy in the squad. Isaac Ngonkom profiles the club or the team in the following report.
Currently ranked 20th on the FIFA World Classification table and top on the African continent, Senegal is still dreaming of lifting the prestigious trophy of the Africa Cup of Nations. The 2002 and 2019 finalists at the tournament arrived Cameroon with clear instructions from Senegalese President Macky Sall to break the deadlock and return with the trophy to Dakar at the end of the 2021 AFCON in Cameroon. The Teranga Lions have a constellation of stars that have kept the backbone of the team intact since the 2019 final in Egypt. With Edouard Mendy as goalkeeper, Captain Kalidou Koulibaly as defensive leader, Idrissa Gana Gueye in the midfield, and Sadio Mane as the main offensive threat, the boys of Aliou Cissé have what it takes to place a legitimate claim to the trophy in Cameroon. The 2021 AFCON preparation was unfortunately dampened on Tuesday after 9 members of the delegation tested positive for COVID-19, including 3 players: Nampalys Mendy of Leicester City, Pape Sarr, who is currently on loan at Metz from Tottenham Hotspur, and Mame Thiam of Kayserispor in Turkey. This comes to add to the injury woes of Monaco winger Krépin Diatta, who recently underwent a knee surgery and is ruled out of the tournament, and Watford striker Ismaïla Sarr, who is currently recovering from a knee injury. Senegal is lodged in Group B of the 2021 Africa Cup of Nations alongside Zimbabwe, Guinea-Conakry, and Malawi. They will be playing their group games at the Bafoussam Omnisport Stadium in Kwekong. The team arrived Bafoussam this Wednesday, ready to roll.
And it is here that the curtain draws for this edition of the news in the English language. Desiree Trezambounet will be with you at 8 p.m. for the news in the French language. But before then, do have a wonderful evening in the company of our programs. Thanks for watching and God bless you. Bye-bye.